Alright, I'm going to show you guys about unpegging when drawing the in-between frames for tweened animation. Over here, this animation is tweened, which basically means the software moves. The balloon is a better example. The software moves the balloon in a perfectly calculated mathematical speed, as you see. And it's shown by this icon here. This is a peg. If this was a drawing layer, you click this button to add a peg. A peg is something that you can attach a drawing layer to. So a car can move on its own, but if you attach the car to an airplane, you can move the car by flying the airplane. That's what the peg is. I can move everything in the drawing layer by tweeting the peg which is attached to the drawing layer. So once I added a peg, and in the node view you can see that it's connected like so. The peg, and this is the peg, and this is the drawing layer. I animate it or tween it by selecting this one, and then on one frame I have auto keyframe on, so whenever I do something it creates a new keyframe, or I can click this button or click F6 on the keyboard and it will create a keyframe. I move it somewhere, and then later at the end I move it somewhere else, like so. And it'll just auto animate that. But the problem comes when you're drawing the in-between frames for a character that has been in between like this. So if I were to draw an in-between frame, say around here, turn on a new skin, the distance between the two frames, the before and after frames, are slightly far apart. Right now it's not a big deal. It's not too far apart because they're still quite close together. You can very easily recognize, I'll draw a line here, and then this diamond, draw it around here. But the problem comes when it's tweened very heavily. Say, let's move it a bit further away. Now, for this frame, the previous drawing was here, and the next animation is here. If you want to do a perfect halfway in between frame, you know, the line is approximately here, but due to human error, you might get that a bit wrong. It gets even harder when the change in movement is more significant. Let's say instead of just tilting from his left side to his right side, he raises an arm and lifts off his hat, or something a bit more complicated. Now it's going to be even more inconvenient when the two frames are farther apart. So in order to avoid this problem, if I were to undo everything I did, you can simply go into node view and disconnect the tween that way. Oops, wrong one. Just disconnect the tween like that. So this was the peg and this is drawing. Now that it's disconnected, the character won't move anymore. The tweening is gone. It'll stay in the same place, and it'll make it a bit easier to draw the in-between frames. When working on your project and there's tween frames like this, that's what I want you to do. And a better example, a more practical one, would be, I believe, scene 17. Right over this one. Yes. Scene 17. So, actually we won't need this one anymore. The bird is flying. If I want to put it in between frame here, because the two frames are pretty far apart, it's going to be a little troubling to draw the in-between frames, because you might get it slightly wrong due to human error. So I go into the node view, I disconnect the peg, and now the bird stays in one place. Well, somewhat, because it's going forward, but it's a lot easier to draw the in-between frames in this position compared to before when it was connected to the peg and tweened. So make sure you guys do that. See ya, bye.